Welcome to Tales Binanya, where ordinary encounters turn into unforgettable journeys. Today, you'll hear a story that proves love can blossom in the most unlikely places. Stay with us until the end, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring tales of connection and change. The city pulsed with life that evening. Neon lights sparkled against the dark sky, cars honked in the distance, and people hurried along the crowded sidewalks. At the very top of one of the tallest towers stood a man whose name was known across boardrooms and newspapers: Maxwell Jameson. Maxwell was in his early 40s, a billionaire investor with the kind of influence that could shift entire markets. To the outside world, he was untouchable, polished, powerful, and flawless. But behind the sharp suits and confident smile, there was a man who felt a quiet emptiness. Tonight, he wasn't thinking about numbers or contracts. Tonight, he needed something very different. Someone by his side at the annual charity gala. It wasn't just any event. The city's elite would be there. Celebrities, politicians, business rivals. Every move he made would be whispered about in the tabloids the next morning. And after his very public breakup with a glamorous actress, all eyes would be on him. Maxwell leaned against the glass window of his penthouse, staring at the glittering skyline. He had everything money could buy, but what he wanted was something money couldn't guarantee: authenticity. Someone real. With a sigh, he grabbed his coat and headed out into the cool night. The streets below were buzzing. People weaved around him, busy with their own lives. And that's when he saw her. She stood in a shadowy corner near the subway entrance, wrapped in a worn coat that had seen better days. Her hair fell in tangled waves across her face, and her shoes looked ready to fall apart. Most people passed her by without a glance, but Maxwell's eyes lingered. There was something about her, an air of quiet dignity despite the hardship that clung to her like the chill in the air. She wasn't begging. She wasn't asking for pity. She was simply standing there, as though holding the world together by sheer willpower. Maxwell's footsteps slowed, his polished shoes clicking against the pavement. She noticed him and looked up, her eyes guarded and sharp, like someone who had learned not to trust too quickly. "Excuse me," Maxwell said, his voice calm but sincere. She straightened, her grip tightening around her coat. "What do you want?" He hesitated for only a moment. "I have an unusual proposition for you." Suspicion flashed in her eyes. "What kind of proposition?" Maxwell gave a faint smile. "I need a date for an event tonight, a formal event. You'll be compensated, of course." She blinked, confusion and disbelief battling in her expression. "You want me, a stranger from the street, to be your date?" "Yes," he answered without flinching. "You seem intriguing, and I think you could surprise people, including me." Her eyes narrowed. She turned her face away. "I don't know what game you're playing, but I'm not interested." Maxwell's tone softened. "I understand this sounds strange, but I promise you it's genuine. Just a few hours of your time. I'll make it worth it." She froze, then glanced back over her shoulder. Her voice came out low, almost wary. "How much?" $5,000, Maxwell replied smoothly. "For tonight only." Her eyes widened. 5,000? She lowered her gaze to her scuffed shoes, her breath shaky. After a long pause, she whispered, "All right, I'll do it." Maxwell extended his hand. "Maxwell Jameson." She looked at it, then at him before slowly reaching out. Her hand was small, cold, but steady. "Sophia," she said softly. Minutes later, Sophia sat stiffly in the back of a sleek black car. The leather seats gleamed, and city lights reflected off the polished chrome. She looked out the window, overwhelmed. Everything about this world felt far away from the life she knew. The car stopped in front of an elegant boutique. Stylists were already waiting at the door. Sophia frowned. "Why are we here?" "If you're going to be my date, you need to look the part," Maxwell said gently. "Let's get you ready." The team whisked her away. In the dressing room, Sophia sat silently as they worked, brushing her tangled hair, applying light makeup, slipping her into a dark green gown that fit like it was made for her. When she finally looked in the mirror, her breath caught. The woman staring back didn't look like the one who had been hiding in the shadows an hour ago. She looked elegant, strong, beautiful. When she stepped out, Maxwell froze. For the first time in years, words failed him. She looked breathtaking, not because of the dress, but because of the quiet vulnerability that lingered in her eyes, the strength beneath the surface. "You look—" His voice trailed off before he gathered himself. "You look amazing." Sophia shifted uncomfortably, her cheeks flushing. "Let's just get this over with," she muttered, though her voice carried a hint of softness. The gala was everything Sophia imagined and more. Glittering chandeliers cast warm light over marble floors. The air buzzed with chatter, laughter, and the notes of a string quartet. Women in sparkling gowns and men in tailored suits moved gracefully through the crowd. As they entered, all eyes turned to them. Maxwell Jameson, the billionaire, arm in arm with a mysterious woman no one recognized. Whispers rippled like waves. Sophia's grip on his arm tightened. She leaned closer, her voice barely audible. "They're all staring. Let them," Maxwell whispered back with a reassuring smile. "Just be yourself." At first, her steps were hesitant. But as the evening went on, something remarkable happened. Sophia began to relax. She spoke honestly, her words unpolished but refreshing in a room full of rehearsed pleasantries. She laughed at jokes without pretending. She listened intently, making people feel truly seen. When a wealthy couple made a snide remark about appearances, Sophia's quiet voice cut through the air. "People are more than what they wear or how much money they have. Some of the strongest people you'll ever meet are the ones who've had to fight just to stand where they are." The couple blinked in surprise, caught off guard. Maxwell, meanwhile, felt something shift inside him. Admiration, respect. She wasn't like anyone in his world. She wasn't chasing status or wealth. She was real. And in that authenticity, she was radiant. "You're incredible," Maxwell whispered later, leaning close. Sophia gave a small laugh. "I'm just trying not to embarrass you." "You could never embarrass me," he said firmly. And he meant it. As the night unfolded, Maxwell couldn't take his eyes off her. Every word, every smile, every moment drew him closer. He realized his interest in her went far deeper than curiosity. He admired her resilience, her honesty, and the way she carried herself despite everything life had thrown at her. But not everyone was pleased. An old acquaintance of Maxwell's approached, his tone laced with arrogance. "Maxwell," he said smoothly, glancing at Sophia. "I didn't know you had new company." Sophia's face fell. She looked away, embarrassed. Maxwell felt a surge of protectiveness. Without hesitation, he took her hand. "Yes," he said firmly. "Sophia and I are very close." The man raised an eyebrow, but Maxwell didn't give him the satisfaction of a reaction. He led Sophia away, guiding her to a quiet corner away from the stairs. Her voice trembled. "What was that about?" Maxwell's expression softened. "Sometimes people need to be reminded that life is about more than appearances." He paused, looking deeply into her eyes. "Tonight, I realized I don't just want someone to stand by me for show. I want something real. And I think I want you to be part of that." Sophia's eyes widened. "Max, I'm just a woman from the street. Why would you want me?" He stepped closer, his voice low and sincere. "Because no one has ever made me feel the way you do. You make me see things differently. And that's something I've needed for a long time." His heart pounded as he reached into his pocket, pulling out a small velvet box. In the middle of that glittering ballroom, Maxwell Jameson sank to one knee. Gasps filled the air. Conversations halted. All eyes turned to them. "Sophia," he said, opening the box to reveal a diamond ring that caught the light. "I know this is sudden, but I've never been more certain of anything in my life. Will you marry me?" Sophia's hands flew to her mouth, her eyes brimming with tears. The walls she had built around her heart began to crumble under the weight of his sincerity. I don't know what to say," she whispered. "Say yes," Maxwell urged gently. His voice shook with emotion. Give me the chance to show you I can be the man you deserve. A tear slipped down her cheek. She looked at him, at the hope in his eyes, at the promise in his voice, and slowly she nodded. Yes, she breathed. I'll marry you. The room erupted in applause. Maxwell rose, slipping the ring onto her finger before pulling her into his arms. He held her tightly, and for the first time in years, she felt warmth, security, belonging. As they looked into each other's eyes, neither cared about the whispers, the shock, or the judgment. All that mattered was that they had found each other. Two souls from different worlds, choosing to walk forward together. And though their journey was only beginning, both knew one thing for certain. Love had found them in the most unexpected place. Hand in hand, they stepped back into the glittering ballroom, ready to face whatever came next. Together,